CitrusTV News, police respond to a shooting in an Illinois business. The latest details as they're coming in.
And the president declares a national emergency at the border. CitrusTV analyst Brandon Ross will tell us what it means.
And the Supreme Court will determine the legality of the question the Trump administration wants on the 2020 census. CitrusTV News starts right now.
CitrusTV News live at 6 starts with breaking news.
A shooting suspect is in custody after 4 police officers and several others were injured in Aurora, Illinois. Good evening. I'm Jack Watson.
And I'm Elijah Shama. Not many details are publicly available right now, but the report says that the 4 officers shot are in stable condition.
The location of the alleged crime is the Henry Pratt Company, which is a manufacturing business. Aurora is about an hour and a half west of Chicago. And new at 6 on campus tonight. In response to an alleged assault on Ackerman Avenue, the university is holding a forum on campus safety. The
forum was scheduled for today, but was moved to this Monday at 6:30. DPS Chief Bobby Maldonado and Dean of Student Affairs Robert Radsky are among the guests at the forum. The forum is co-hosted by the Student Association and the Student African American Society.
Now, this comes after a movement of students alleged that the assault was racially motivated. Students in the community have voiced their concerns over what they believe to be a lack of response from the Department of Public Safety. The Syracuse Police Department has said that the crime does not appear to be racially motivated.
And elsewhere on campus, Syracuse University earned an award for its efforts to make the campus more sustainable. The award comes from an organization that measures higher education sustainability. Under Chancellor Nancy Cantor in 2007, SU put into action several eco-friendly energy efforts, including reducing climate emissions and installing solar panels.
And famous saxophonist Marcus Anderson is visiting Syracuse University in honor of Black History Month. Anderson has played with stars like Prince and CeeLo Green. He will visit campus on February 25th and will discuss the current state of the music business. The visit is free and open to the public.
And some big changes are coming to Syracuse's public housing projects.
The city announcing a $100 million initiative to overhaul some of Syracuse's most impoverished neighborhoods. Chris Venzon is in studio with the details of the historic plan. Chris?
Guys, if it sounds like a big deal, that's because it is. $100 million over 10 years, all initiated by the Student Housing Authority and the Allen Family Foundation. The Allen Family Foundation putting 3 years of effort into putting together a plan to completely transform Syracuse's most impoverished areas. Taking a look, what exactly are they going to be doing? Well, this entire strip of area has been impoverished for nearly 50 years since I-81 came down and dissected the Ward 15, which was a formerly prominent African-American community in the area. The specific neighborhoods they're looking to target: McKinney Manor, Pioneer Homes, and Central Village. 27 blocks, 4,000 people looking to be directly impacted. They'll bring in new business, a special look at Dr. Martin Luther King Elementary School to improve their education, and some parks, as well as plenty of new businesses. Now, when you're taking a look at exactly why they're doing it, it's because they need it. Syracuse, among the highest impoverished area city rates in the entire country. 1 in 3 live below the poverty line. 1 in 20 people come in without jobs. And that's extremely important, especially when you consider how much money it's going to take to renovate it. $100 million over 10 years. Most of that is going to be passed on to taxpayers. However, the Allen Family Foundation fully expects to contribute as well, and hopefully they will have some nonprofit help in the future. So the big thing that is important to know about this is the Allen Family Foundation's profit and partnership with the purpose-built communities. Purpose-built communities came into a neighborhood in East Atlanta called the East Lake neighborhood. Before the purpose-built community and after the purpose-built community, huge differences in crime. Specifically, how in the 18 times the national average in this neighborhood completely reduced or nearly reduced. It was essentially a war zone. In schools, they were incredibly improved. High schools were only graduating with 30%, nearly 99% since the public purpose-built communities has come in and helped. This is extremely important for Syracuse. They hope they can replicate that success here. Well, it's just a matter of time. The developers will be hired in April. Guys, back to you.
All right, our reporter Chris Venzon. Chris, thank you. 2 child victims died last night after a Watertown house fire early Thursday morning. That morning, an adult and 2 other children died. The adult has been identified as 38-year-old Aaron Boda. One of Boda's 5 daughters, a 13-year-old, is reportedly in good condition at Upstate University Hospital here in Syracuse. The Watertown fire chief says there were no functioning smoke detectors at the home. And Syracuse Catholic Bishop Thomas Costello died today at Francis House. Auxiliary Bishop Costello was with the Diocese of Syracuse for over 60 years. Costello became a priest in 1954 and was ordained as auxiliary bishop over 40 years ago. The Oneida County native was 89 years old.
And New York's Department of Corrections is investigating a death in the Green Correctional Facility. The state said that 24-year-old Anthony Myrie died Monday after an incident involving multiple inmates. Myrie's family say that prison officials interrupted a phone call to take him to solitary confinement. The family said that they have not been able to locate Myrie's body. And a local grocery store chain is lending a hand to some of its customers. The owners at Wegmans say the store will drop prices on certain items like pasta sauce, eggs, and yogurt. They say this is to help federal workers that were given February food stamp benefits in advance due to the extended government shutdown. The lower prices will be in effect at all Wegmans stores until March.
And there's a new baby elephant at the Rosamond Gifford Zoo, but you won't be able to see him on display until later this spring. But CitrusTV reporter Sabrina Maggiore visited the zoo to see the two red panda twins that are stealing the show.
They're a fan favorite at the Rosamond Gifford Zoo, and it's easy to see why. At just 8 months old, these red pandas are about as cute as it gets. Violet agrees.
What is your favorite thing about the panda? They're cute?
These twin brothers are actually a pretty big deal. There are fewer than 10,000 red pandas left in the wild, and the Rosamond Gifford Zoo is just one of a handful of AZA-accredited zoos that gets to help breed these endangered species.
The hope is, and the goal is to create a very, very diverse, genetically diverse population, a healthy population. So especially for an animal like red pandas that are continuing to decline in the wild.
The twin brothers, Lufa and Dufa, were hand-reared by caretakers and have spent the last couple months in this panda playpen. But pretty soon they'll be joining their mother at this more spacious outdoor exhibit. They'll stay here for a bit before heading to other zoos and helping to breed more of their species. Because the Rosamond Gifford Zoo is AZA accredited, the red pandas aren't the only species the zoo gets to help breed. Just weeks ago, an Asian elephant was born at the zoo.
On January 15th, we had this little guy born, and he's been amazing. We've had a number of elephants born here, but he far surpasses the intelligence and the activity level of any that we've ever had.
It's going to take a couple months for this little guy to make his debut, but for now, the red pandas are stealing the show. Sabrina Maggiore, CitrusTV News.
All right, Sabrina, thank you. We'll certainly keep an eye out for those brand new zoo animals in the spring.
And if you like fishing, President's Day weekend, you and your family can fish without a license in New York State. The Department of Environmental Conservation says that this Saturday and Sunday are among several this year where you can fish with no New York State license. Even though this weekend has license-free fishing, the state stresses following proper fishing guidelines.
Now, Elijah, I'm no fish expert, but according to you, at least, it's good weather for fishing.
Yeah, bad weather for people, good weather for fish. This kind of cloudy, muddy water is great for fishing. You're going to see a lot.
So brings them out pretty well, right?
Yeah, let's toss it over to Carmella Boykin to see how the weather for people is going to be.
Thanks, Elijah. Like I said earlier, the weather for people feels like spring today. It was 50 degrees today, a bit rainy, melting the snow away, but now we're back in typical Syracuse fashion. We're at 34 degrees with 14-mile-per-hour wind speeds, which makes the temperatures feel just slightly cooler. But the sky was clear today, so hopefully you got a chance to see the sunset as it set across the horizon. Now, if we look at today's temperatures, things were pretty warm. Around 6 a.m. we were at 40 degrees, warmed up to almost 50 degrees around noon, and then as we descend throughout the evening, things are just going to get cooler and cooler. Tonight we're expected to hit a low of 23 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and as those clouds roll in, we're also going to pick up wind speeds as well between 15 and 18 miles per hour, so keep that in mind as you're headed out tonight. And tomorrow, the cool weather is just going to continue. We've got 9 a.m., 24 degrees, warm up just a little tad, just 2 degrees at noon, and back to where we started at 24 degrees at 6 p.m. Mostly cloudy throughout the day, and winds are going to continue as well, so if you're headed out, just keep that in mind. That's all I have for you right now, but make sure you stick around for my full 5-day weather forecast after the break. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Carmella. Coming up, Citrus TV's Brandon Ross breaks down the president's decision to declare a national emergency.
And India accuses Pakistan of having a role in a bombing that killed 40 people. That and more after the break.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed.
I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it.
I just want my family to be safe.
But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes, B, console her,
don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Today, President Trump formally declared a national emergency at the border in an attempt to get more funding for a border wall.
That's right. Citrus TV's Brandon Ross breaks down what you need to know.
President Trump's declaration of a national emergency this morning is not as straightforward as he'd like it. He's facing opposition from some members of Congress trying to limit his powers under the National Emergency Act, and that's one way the president's actions could be stopped. The other is a drawn-out court process, which is what Trump says he's expecting.
And we will have a national emergency, and we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there. And we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court.
The Ninth Circuit Court Trump mentioned is one commonly known to rule against his administration. The Supreme Court might actually be the most friendly to the president should the case get there. After Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation, Republicans have a 5-4 majority on the court. Chief Justice John Roberts may get in the way, though. Roberts is a Republican, but prefers the court shy away from the more touchy political issues. Brandon Ross, Citrus TV. President Trump's declaration...
The latest in Washington now, where the Supreme Court is agreeing to hear the Trump census case.
The case would decide whether it's legal to add a citizenship status question to the 2020 census. The legality of that measure was challenged and blocked in the Southern District of New York in January.
A district court judge argued that the question was against a federal law. The Supreme Court justices are scheduled to hear the case in April.
And keeping it in the courts, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg returns to the Supreme Court today, for the first time since her cancer surgery. She participated in a closed-door meeting with court justices.
Now, Ginsburg had surgery to remove 2 cancerous formations in her left lung. The Supreme Court says there is no evidence of any disease left after Ginsburg's surgery.
The Supreme Court will take the bench again on Tuesday for oral arguments.
And U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo visited Iceland today.
This is the last stop on his 5-nation tour of Europe after the Trump administration launched an attack on the European Union. This was Pompeo's first visit to the capital since 2008.
At the Icelandic capital, he talked with officials about Russian threats and enhancing trade. He also met with U.S. troops that are based at a Navy air station in Iceland.
But I am very confident that America and Iceland working together will achieve outcomes, and I look forward to being part of this as Iceland takes over the Arctic Council of determining how and where best to deploy assets.
And new details in the UK, where British students are on strike to protest climate change.
According to the BBC, the students want national curriculum reform and to lower the voting age to 16.
The protesters also want the British government to declare a climate change emergency and stress to the public the seriousness of climate change. The British students joined protesting students in other countries, such as Germany and Belgium.
And the Indian government is accusing Pakistan of, quote, having a direct hand in carrying out a bombing in the northern Indian Kashmir region.
India's finance minister says the country will attempt to isolate Pakistan from the international community in response to the attack.
India says a Pakistan-based terror group carried out the attack. According to the BBC, the attack killed at least 40 Indian police.
And the Prime Minister of Spain is calling for a snap election in late April.
According to The Guardian, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez wants an election to get left-leaning voters to vote in favor of his party. The separatist Catalan supporters, whose secession effort failed, voted with a right-wing party.
This will be Spain's third general election in about 4 years.
And coming up on the other side of the break, check out which popular McDonald's drink is already back in season this year.
And did the former Fresh Prince of Bel-Air actor succeed in copywriting his famous Carlton dance? We'll have the answer next.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to CitrusTV News. Temps across the state are cool, but not too cold. We've seen worse throughout the week for sure, especially with all the snow happening. Right now we're at 34 here in Syracuse. Warmest is down in Binghamton, where they're at 41, and coolest is over in Rochester, where they're at 32, and under a high wind warning, high wind advisory as well. So if you're traveling that way, be careful. But the rest of the state is also experiencing some cold winds, which is dropping the temperature about 10 degrees. As you can see in Syracuse, we're at 24 with the wind chill, and similar things across the state. Now, if we take a look at our wind stream map, we can see where that's coming from. We can see winds are moving from the west to the southwest. If we go on that animation, we can really see where the wind is traveling and pushing that cold front across east, moving the heat that we felt earlier today out of the area. And that means tonight we're going to hit a low of 23 degrees, partly cloudy skies, but that also means with the clouds, we're going to experience 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts. So we're not under advisory, but we are going to hear that around your building. So don't be alarmed, but it is going to be happening. And then tomorrow we'll hit a high of 26 degrees, a few flurries in the morning, not a lot of accumulation on the ground, so don't worry about that. And if we take a look at our 5-day, we can see this weekend it's going to be cloudy. Monday we'll see a few snow showers. Tuesday, your only chance of sun. Make sure you get out and get your vitamin D. And on Wednesday, we're going to have some snow showers as well. That's all I have for you guys, and back to you.
All right, our weather anchor, Carmella Boykin. Carmella, thank you. If you're worrying about not being able to do the Carlton dance, don't worry. Former Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star Alfonso Ribeiro has been denied the copyright of the Carlton dance. Ribeiro is suing 2 video game publishers for using his dance in Fortnite and the NBA 2K games. Ribeiro's attorney, David Hecht, is also representing the creators of 2 other dance moves.
And a McDonald's favorite is back. The Shamrock Shake is here in time for St. Patrick's Day. The favorite treat is a combination of vanilla soft serve and minty syrup. Customers have bought the Shamrock Shake since 1970. And you have until March 24th to grab one. The McDonald's app is even offering a Shamrock Shake Finder to help customers find it.
And coming up in sports, the temperatures feel warmer today, signaling that spring sports are finally in full swing. I'll preview both lacrosse games and tell you what's going on with Colin Kaepernick after the break.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. I'm Nicole Weaving with sports. No one expected Syracuse to drop its season opener to Colgate a week ago, but what's done is done, and the men's lacrosse team has moved on to its next opponent, Albany. Last year, the Great Danes outplayed the Orange 15-3 behind 5 goals from Tahoka Nanticoke. But this Albany team has suffered some losses this offseason. Senior Connor Fields and J.D. Colarusso have graduated, and faceoff man T.D. Erlin has transferred to Yale. Either way, Syracuse needs to be ready for a competitive game, and head coach John Jesko is prepared for the Albany offense.
They do a lot of a two-man game, which is, always had a lot of ex-box players. And it's difficult to cover, especially if you don't practice it every day. So we've worked on it all week long, and we've got a couple more days to keep working on it, and we'll get better at it.
And the opening face-off between these upstate New York rivals is tomorrow at 4 p.m. And unlike the men's team, Gary Gates' squad has cruised past its first 2 opponents, winning by at least 10 in each contest. But tomorrow afternoon will not be as much of a cakewalk. Syracuse faces off against #1 Boston College, looking to keep its perfect record alive. The Eagles bring back 2018 Tewaaraton Award winner Sam Apuzzo and All-Americans Dempsey Arsenault and Kenzie Kent, creating an army of offensive weapons. The Orange will need to bring its A-game on both sides of the field if it wants to beat the top team in the nation. The opening draw is at noon in the Carrier Dome. And after a hot start, Syracuse tennis has hit a wall, losing 4 games in a row. But today, the Orange got back on track, beating Colorado 4-0. The Buffs suffered a major loss when Annabelle Andronopoulos got injured, causing them to forfeit 2 matches. The Orange then won the doubles point for the first time in 5 duels and never looked back. Gabby Knutson won her 160th career match in the victory. SU will have a short rest before facing Harvard Sunday morning. And Syracuse ice hockey is currently playing RIT an hour west of here with the game tied 0-0. The Orange is looking for its first win over the Tigers after falling to this upstate New York rival twice earlier this season. SU is carrying some momentum to Rochester after sweeping its series against Mercyhurst last weekend. Citrus TV Sports will keep you updated on Twitter. And lastly, Syracuse softball is escaping the cold, facing off against Penn State and Indiana down in Durham. The Orange already lost to the Nittany Lions 3-2 thanks to a late RBI in the bottom of the 7th, and it seems like the bad luck is continuing as SU is already down to Indiana 3-1 in the 3rd inning. And nationally, Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid have reached a financial settlement with the NFL. The two players had originally filed a joint complaint for collusion against the league. Both parties have now signed a non-disclosure agreement, so no specifics of the decision have been released. But the NFL officials believe that Kaepernick was paid in the range of $60 to $80 million. This agreement comes just before the final hearing of the Kaepernick case, in which he is alleged that the league conspired to keep him out after kneeling for the national anthem.
All right, Nicole, a bit of a rocky start for this SU men's lacrosse team. How do you see them faring against Albany?
I think that as long as they're able to redeem themselves from that loss and even from last season, they have a pretty good chance. They just need to be able to get things going on offense. They looked pretty stagnant on that front against Colgate, and so they'll need to do better if they want to be able to battle it out against what will be definitely a powerful offensive unit out there for the Great Danes.
All right, we'll certainly see. Nicole Weaving, our sports reporter. Nicole, thank you. And coming up, we'll have one last look at your weather.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Get some drinks.
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires. They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. As you wake up tomorrow, no matter if you wake up at 4 a.m. or if you wake up at noon, temps are going to be around 24 degrees. Overcast throughout the day with 13-mile-per-hour winds, which is going to make the temp feel like the teens.
All right, Carmella, so temps in the teens. How's my walk gonna be?
Thankfully, there's not going to be a lot of precipitation, so unlike we saw earlier in the week where it was kind of just a drag to walk to class, now you'll be all set. Clear skies.
Hey, I'll take it. And that's all the time we have for Live at 6 tonight. Make sure you follow us on Citrus TV News on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Elijah Shama.
And I'm Jack Watson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great evening, Syracuse.